Good morning, Sports Med. Hope you guys are all doing well. So today we're going to go through a few more lower body muscles. We're going to start with the quadriceps and do the hamstrings and some hip adductors. But when I go through this, it might be kind of fast, so the videos are quick. But just press pause when you need to, so you could switch back to your notes and copy those notes down, so we could really get these muscles down. All right, so these are your quadriceps. So your quadriceps, there's excuse me, obviously there's four muscles. Quads equals four, right? They're on the anterior aspect of your femur, as we could see. So these are the quads here. So the way it's going to be, we're going to have one by itself and then all the other ones on one side. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to name these quadriceps. I'm going to start over here on the top right. So this first quadricep here, this one, this is your, all like three of your quadriceps have similar names, okay? And we're going to do those first three first. Okay, so this is your vastus intermedius. Okay, that's your vastus intermediate. Vastus intermedius. It's deep. It's a smaller muscle. It's actually deep to this muscle right here that we'll go over. So that's your vastus intermedius. Okay, and then this one next is also a vastus muscle, and then it's named for where it's located on the quad. So this is your vastus, and it's on the medial aspect of the quad, so it's your medialis. Okay, and then last one here, so this is another vastus muscle, your vastus lateralis. All right, so three vastus muscles on your quadriceps, and then it's named for where it's located. Lateralis on the lateral aspect, medialis, it's on the medial aspect, and intermedius because it's in the middle, right? So this muscle, real quick, so the vastus medialis, I don't know if you've heard about like the teardrop muscle, but like this is like the teardrop area of it. And it's important, if you contract your quad right now, you'll be able to see that definition. But that muscle is really important with returning from injuries, ACL injuries. That muscle needs to fire so it can protect the knee. And the other thing, see how much bigger your vastus lateralis is? It's like huge over here compared to your medialis. So sometimes your lateralis is a little stronger, so you need to have good muscle distribution, right? Another thing about the quads is they insert, all your quads come together and insert onto your tibial tuberosity right there through your patellar tendon. That's your patellar tendon. So tibial tuberosity and then your patellar tendon. Okay, so those are three of the quad muscles. All three of these muscles, their function are the same. They extend at the knee. Okay, so all three of these quad muscles extend at the knee. That's the common function of the quadriceps, extension of the knee. That's the one that keeps us upright, keeps our legs straight. The other quadricep muscle that's a little different is this one right here. So this one is super long. This one is superficial to the vastus intermedius. So this is your rectus femoris. And your rectus femoris, so it's this one. This is your rectus femoris, right? So it is actually superficial to your intermedius, and this is your only quadricep muscle that has two functions. It's the only one that has two functions, and that is flexion at the hip and extension at the knee. And you could see, knee. All right, and you could see that it does that because it crosses the hip joint right here, okay? If we were to compare it to, if you had to tell the difference between, so here's the rectus, right? Here is the vastus intermedius. You see how much shorter this one is than this one? See this one, the rectus femoris crosses the hip joint. That's why it acts on the hip. That's why it's the only one that has a hip function. Okay, so those are your quadriceps. So we got the rectus femoris, vastus intermedius, vastus medialis, vastus lateralis. Common function is extension at the knee, and your rectus femoris is the only one that has another function. So rectus femoris has two functions: flexion at the hip and extension at the knee. Okay. All right. So those are your quadriceps. So if you need to, press pause and take notes on that, do that. Okay. Next one we're going to talk about. I want to talk about this thing right here. So this right here, I think a lot of people kind of know what that is, but they don't know the name of it, right? Like that's the most common thing that people roll out. So that's your IT band. Stands for iliotibial. And it provides lateral support. And something extra I want you to know about it is that it inserts on this bony landmark called Gerdy's tubercle. Sorry. Gerdy's tubercle. If I could spell. Okay. All right, so that's your IT band, iliotibial band, provides support, and as we all know, it could really hurt a lot sometimes too. And then the other thing I want you to know on this page is just a group. So we're going to talk about this group of muscles, like commonly known as your like growing muscles, but these are your hip adductors, and obviously they adduct the hip. Okay, so those are your hip adductors. And then last thing for today is your hamstrings. Whoa. All right, so your hamstrings, all right? So hamstrings are neglected. That posterior chain, it really needs to get more attention spent to it. I think if you talk to Coach Walls or any strength coach, they're going to talk about how important your hamstrings are. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is the lateral hamstring. So this is called your biceps femoris. Okay, so this is your biceps femoris. It's your lateral hamstring. Okay, and then you have two medial hamstrings. You have a medial superficial one that's kind of skinny looking. See, there it is right here. That is it's kind of a long word, but it's called your semitendinosus. It's your semitendinosus. And then next one is medial and deep. And so over there, and so this one sits deep to your semitendinosus. This is your semimembranosus. So these two are both medial. This one is deep. This one is superficial. And all three of these muscles, semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and your biceps femoris, we're going to write the functions here together because they all have the same functions. So they all extend at the hip, and they all flex at the knee. All right, so those are your hamstrings. Biceps femoris is lateral. Semitendinosus is medial and superficial. Semimembranosus is medial and deep. And they all extend at the hip and flex at the knee. All right, so just real quick, so pause when you need to, take notes when you need to, but that's it for today. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.